Today I'm in Camtasia 2020. Well, Camtasia is a screen recording software. It's from a company called Techsmith, and it's a piece of software that I've used for, absolutely years. I mean, probably, I don't know, I've used it since Camtasia 8. I bought Camtasia 9, and I bought Camtasia 2018, and I've now bought Camtasia 2020 as well, or upgrades. So all I want to do today is just really show a bit of love for Camtasia, a bit of an appreciation, because it's something that I've used solely in the last couple of weeks for two videos. So this one you've got here, this one is a video I did on this camera here, this Reolink camera. And I also used it for a corporate project, which was a kind of training thing. And I used Camtasia start to finish with the edit to the outputted video to the uploaded video. And that's something that's really quite new for me. Camtasia's only been part of a workflow, and I've always edited in Davinci or Premiere. And without wanting to sound mean to Camtasia, Davinci and Premiere are superior editing software. That they're better in many ways around the editing side of things. That's what they're designed for. They have tools that let you do so much more, and they're more powerful. However, what I will say is that there is, for most people watching, I'm sure, a ton of stuff in Davinci Resolve and Adobe Premiere that you just don't use. Yeah, you want to use that type of software because it's good software, or you might have it as part of your Creative Cloud or Davinci because it's free for the light version and pretty reasonable for the studio version if you're making any kind of money off it. And they're good. It's good software, so you want to use it. But I bet all the features in there, you don't know half of them. I know I certainly don't. And so a piece of software like Camtasia, it is more basic, but there's nothing wrong with that, because if it gets the job done and it does it reliably, then who cares? I mean, it's working, isn't it? And that's what I want to talk about today, because this project here is the first one that I've done, this is a 4K 60p project. And I thought to myself, okay, well, we're working in 4K footage here, and we're working at 60 frames per second. This is going to run like a dog. And it doesn't at all. I mean, this is MP4 footage that I've imported into here. So this is interframe footage, which is notoriously more CPU intensive, and it just does a great job of it. You can do everything so easily, everything from titles. Like, I mean, I even went crazy and used one of their titles at the start, which is a bit cheap. I know. I mean, a bit cheap to nick one of their stock titles. But I even thought, well, I'm just going to go mad and just going to chuck those in. But, adding all these annotations, adding all this additional text titling, all this stuff is done in Camtasia. And the big benefit of doing it this way is that it's vector. So it's vector in Camtasia. What that means is that you can make changes to the timings, you can make changes to the size of the text, and there's no loss of quality because it is generating it on the fly, essentially, in Camtasia. It's almost like a really, really basic After Effects within the software itself. So let me take this title, for example. So that title, see, it's got a nice little kind of, it sort of drops out of the frame as it just to the right there, which is as long as you use those kind of effects subtly, I think they're fine. But if this were fixed, obviously, if I'd have exported that from Adobe After Effects and brought it in, it would be a fixed length, and I just have to use a fade at the end or something. But if I want to make this longer now, this title, well, I can just extend it to here and do it here, and then up the video's in, and then it still does the same dropout at the end, that nice kind of like fallout at the end. And that's really cool because it just really adds flexibility into your work. You're generating everything within the same piece of software. And that's something that's a bit different for me. My previous titling is done in After Effects, or it's done in Premiere, and it's exported out as a ProRes file with an alpha channel, so 4444 alpha ProRes, and it's imported into Davinci, and Davinci supports that, and it's really happy with it, and it creates lovely results. But then I thought, well, I can just do these things. So I can create a nice little title like this in I really do have some strange facial expression. I can create these things in Camtasia simply enough. I mean, it's just you just want a bar with a nice font, and there we go. Look at that. You've got a nice simple title, and I can do whatever I want with this now. If I want to make the text bigger, I can change it, change the colors of it, and I can do it all within Camtasia. Anyway, that's a big plus for me, and that's one of the things I kind of wanted to show my appreciation of today, really. Whatever performance improvements they've done over the years, it's worked, because this Camtasia 2020, working on these two projects, I've spent hours working on these. So this video took I don't know how long these videos take. They take a good bit of time, right? And then the corporate thing that I was working on, that took a good couple of days to do. And this software was solid throughout. It had no crashes, no issues, no glitches, nothing. I can't bring the other one up, actually, because it's got sensitive information in which I can't show you on the video. But it was a 1080p project, and it had loads of kind of titles and loads of information in there as well. And I don't know, it just lends itself really well to adding information into your videos. But it's but because the performance is so good now, you can do a full edit in this software. I'm interested to know out there how many of you have used this type of software. If any of you watching this are YouTubers, or you've come to this because you just like Camtasia or whatever, put some comments down below, because I'm interested to know what you think about this software and whether you would use it or consider using it, even if you're a kind of like, you're looking at this and saying, oh my God, well, I can totally do this in Davinci. Yeah, of course you can. There might be a lot of stuff that you can do in Davinci. And indeed, there might be a lot of stuff that I talk about in a second, which you can do loads better in Camtasia, and I'm not doing it the right way, or whatever. It's not the point, really. I'm just kind of showing my appreciation, I guess, for this software. So if I just take a look at the top left-hand side, I just say some of the things I particularly like. Obviously, annotations are really, really nice and simple to use. So if I kind of have this footage here, if I want to put an arrow on it or something, then you can drop these kind of things on really, really easily and generate an arrow and make it a nice thick arrow or something. And the big thing with Camtasia is you can animate really, really simply. And again, that's what I was talking about. Everything's in vector, so you can animate all this stuff nice and simply. I've got my arrow here, and let's just take this round to the corner. Let's say I want to start it with it here. I'm going to start with it just at the top here, and I'm going to point it down towards the camera. So if I bring my cursor, my time head, my playhead rather, to where I want it, and I just do a Shift A on the keyboard, that adds an animation in, and then I can just bring that down to where I want it to point. Now, of course, this isn't fixed or anything like that. I know that a lot of people will do fixed stuff in Fusion and all those sort of complex things where you've got tracking and nice things like that. And yeah, that looks cool. That looks lovely. But just for simple, quick animations, and you've just got a nice thing that now the arrow comes down into the screen. So it's a nice kind of ease in, ease out. There we go. So it just brings the arrow down into there, and that works great. Just nice, simple things like that. All these annotations, you can do that. You can change that with shapes as well. You can change the size of shapes. And I'll do a tutorial video on a lower third that I created for this video. So if I go back to the start here, because it's so easy to do. And I was a little bit sort of put off at the start, thinking, how am I going to get this stuff in? And I thought, well, I'll just create it in there. I'm pretty sure I did it on this video. Was it this one? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a really basic one. It was actually slightly nicer than that, but just a really basic lower third there. So you've got like a little thing that goes across, a little bar that moves across, and a little other one that goes to the side with the sort of brand colors on, and then the text. And of course, everything on here you can edit. As far as transitions go, well, of course, some of these here are, I don't know, they're the sort of things you get in PowerPoint, and when people use them, they're just like, oh God, wow, they've just gone crazy with these transitions. And the rule with transitions is really kind of don't use them unless you have to, or use them in really, really subtly. So I tend to just go with a fade, or that's about it, really. And unless they are entirely relevant to the storytelling, don't use any of the others apart from a fade maybe, or a fade to black. But they do have them in there. Not really necessary. I mean, I just use the fade. That's why the fade exists in my favorites here. So I just have my favorite section, which has my text style in here, and I can just put this in here. And this has got my preset font on here, and got some text. I can just drop in nice and easily. What else do I have? So yeah, we have favorites, annotations, transitions, and then behaviors. Behaviors again is quite nice. They are just animations again of the same sort of things. So I think with this box, I think I did an animation, or maybe I did a reveal actually on this. So I think this box might be done with just a reveal. So it's a preset animation that brings stuff into view. Again, you can go crazy with it, and they look really cheap and nasty when you just go over the top with it. But take it easy, and it looks really good. Animations, zoom and pan is certainly the best thing about this. It is really, really straightforward to take your screenshots and just say, I want to zoom into this section here. There we go. And it's added an animation into the video, added an animation into all the relevant parts of the video, of which you can change at a later time. And it just zooms in to a particular section. And it does it with nice kind of soft starts and soft finishes. It's just like mega simple, really. Cursor effects. This is, I don't know when they added this. I think I don't remember it being in 2018, Camtasia 2018. So it might have been added in 2019. Not sure. Cursor smoothing. I am terrible when it comes to cursor motion. I'm a real kind of like twitcher with the with the cursor. I'm kind of just move it with my hand randomly, and I can't help it in a way. And when you're doing tutorial videos, it's the most annoying thing, isn't it? When you've got someone like moving the cursor around really unnecessarily. There've been times since I've done that where I've just disabled the cursor, because you can fade the cursor down in Camtasia and just have it not show at all for a time. So if you've got to excess stuff, highlight it with an annotation and then fade it down. But they've added cursor smoothing, and it works brilliantly. It just keeps all those movements to the key thing. So obviously where there's a click, it will put it over it and it will show it. And then it moves to another click, and it moves to another click. All the stuff in between, even like random total movements where you might have taken it right across the screen and moved it across, like wiggled it backwards and forwards, it'll just keep it on the right hand side and just say, well, that was a waste of time, wasn't it? You didn't need to do that. I'm just going to keep it at the side. And it does it pretty well. So that cursor smoothing, to me, huge addition and really, really good. Highlight, I mean, those sort of things are available in most software, but it still does a pretty good job of it. And you've got options around sort of, how smooth do you want the circle, and I don't know, just there's just like nice options around how it zooms and how it fading it in and out and all that type of stuff. Voice narration, chucking some voice recordings on the top. Again, you can do all this sort of stuff in Premiere and in Davinci, but it's much more difficult to do than just having a thing here where you just come in, click go, talk over the bit you want, and there it is in the timeline for you. It's just designed for that. And audio effects. Well, audio effects is massively lacking in this software. Audio compression is basic at best. You've got fade in and fade out. I really wish this software had kind of handles on the thing here, so you had audio and you have the handles at the end where you can pull in. So if I wanted to fade to here, I can pull the handle right to here, or if I want a really, really quick one. Same for opacity, but you've got it. Fade in, fade out options. Yeah, it's pretty basic. And visual effects, again, yeah, okay. Well, they're not amazing, but they're there for you anyway. But overall, I really I don't want to finish on a negative or anything like that. But overall, I really just want to say that Camtasia has come a long way. I upgraded to 2020 because of Prores. They added Prores support. And Prores support to me is important because a lot of my stock stuff and a lot of my titles and a lot of my things, they are in Prores. So, and I'm going to I want them in that because it's a good quality codec. It's a good intraframe codec that is an intermediate codec used in editing because of its low CPU usage. But I mean, even in this, even in the 4K footage, even in 4K footage like this, using MP4 files, which is interframe, so much more CPU intensive to edit with and scan and scrub across, it's doing an okay job. I mean, I'm on a decent system here, but my graphics card isn't anything flash. It's a 1080 Ti, so it's a good few years old now, few generations old, and it's still doing a reasonable job. So there we go, a really kind of totally unstructured video, more of just an appreciation and of Camtasia and the fact that it has come a long way. And although the upgrade side of things sometimes is like, oh God, you want me to pay to upgrade again? And you feel like it's not really worth it. And they do always put these little nuggets in. For me, it was absolutely ProRes support that made me upgrade, no question. You know, it was like 90 quid, I think, for an upgrade, £90 for an upgrade. And for me it has meant that I am able to do a video start to finish in Camtasia, as I said, and that is time saved, which means money. Essentially, time is money, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day. So it's worth, if you have to look at stuff like that and say, it's, you know, you've got more time to spend elsewhere, more time to spend doing other stuff, more time to concentrate, if you can do it all in one piece of software. Now, I'm not going to get rid of Davinci, of course not, because I had to do my grade of this footage in Davinci. I had to initially do my grade from log footage to this lovely kind of film convert nitrate grade, which I use, and I love the grade that it produces. I love the look of the footage, and I'm not going to change that. So I had to do that in Davinci. I had to do my color grade in Davinci, and that's why I usually edit in Davinci as well, because I've got that color grade capability. But as far as the whole structure and full edit of the video goes, once I had that initial MP4 footage of me, it was all done in Camtasia. Hopefully you took something from that, and if you've got any questions about what you can and can't do in here, because there's a lot of stuff you can't do, please do ask in the comments, because it is a bit more capable than you might think. Thanks for watching, and I will speak to you soon.